Greetings, my friends, and welcome to the next episode of the Mint Mob podcast. Hopefully, I get the intro right. This is attempt number 3, I think, number 4. I'll have to get Alex to verify that. But Jason here. I got my buddy Alex across the world in the west wing of his mansion in Germany, overlooking the beautiful Rhineland. And we're going to jump into all things crypto, NFT, and what's going on with the GoodFellas NFT project for you guys today. So, Alex, how's things in the mansion, my friend?
Hey man, everything is great. Thank you for the great introduction. And yeah, it took you some time until we started here. But I got that problem as well. I mean, I think I mentioned multiple times already that when I send you voice messages, sometimes I'm stuck and I have to re-record them all the time. So it's good. I forgive you here. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff we want to talk about today. I think there is a lot of interesting stuff going on in the NFT space and the crypto space. But why don't we start with our own stuff, our project related stuff, the Goodfellas? We got a pretty cool artist in Incubator coming up. We've talked a bit about it already, but yeah, we want to dive a bit deeper today. And yeah, what's coming for the people, man? Tell them.
Yeah. So the idea, of course, is to showcase some of the best artwork that we can find, no matter the chain. So chain independent doesn't have to be Solana. So if you're out in the world and you're on a different chain, even though we mint most of our stuff on Solana and Bitcoin, we would love to have that conversation with you if you're interested in producing some pieces. But basically, what we want to do is showcase artists who are out in the world doing their best to bring their craft to life. And Alex has been working actually quite a bit behind the scenes to get an artist by the name of Maria, who is submitting our first 7 pieces. And we're going to be releasing this finally this month, I believe on the 21st. So maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the things that you've gone through with Maria and getting her onboarded and, some of the ins and outs of the agreement that you've made with her.
Yeah, of course, man. Maria actually replied to a tweet that we made some time ago, and we actually asked artists to contact us because we had that idea of bringing different artists to our project and create one big artist gallery. And when we made that tweet back then, she actually replied, which is obviously great for us. And I got in touch with her, and we had like a lot of conversations about what we expect her to do, what she had a lot of questions, of course. And yeah, then in the end we came together and she created beautiful pieces for us. I really love them. And she doesn't know yet, but we are trying to get her on the podcast as well, so she can have a little, like, we can show, we can let her talk to the people as well. And yeah, show like, yeah, show people what she's able to do, how long she's an artist already, and why she became an artist. And I think it's actually pretty interesting for people to see that process of how you actually create an NFT if it's hand drawn, because in the world of NFTs a lot of stuff is generative and you create just like traits and then computers put them together. But Maria made everything like hand drawn for us, and I think it's actually pretty interesting for people to see how that works.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, so much is AI these days, generated by computer, by machine. And a lot of it is super cool. I'm not taking anything away from that. It is what it is. But there's just something special when someone sits down and puts every pixel on the page. And, she's done quite a few collections on, I believe her initial collection was on Cosmos, but she's done a few collections across different chains. And I think the majority of her work has been hand drawn. So it's going to be really cool to see that come to life, and her pieces, I just saw them today, not 15 minutes ago. I got them from Alex here on our little shared drive. And just looking through the pieces, she did a great job with these. They're super cool female form. I think everyone's going to really love them. And the fact that they're hand drawn, I think just adds that extra little bit of mystique to it. So I'm looking forward to getting to know her a little bit better because I know that, down the line, we're probably going to want to have her do some more stuff for us.
Yeah, hopefully, man. I mean, shout outs to you and Joe and her, to remind the people that you guys were on a space a couple days ago, and yeah, you already talked a bit about all that stuff, and I think it's definitely interesting, or it's definitely important to have a little spotlight for the artists, for people to get them, like, to know them better. And we see so much art on the NFT space every day, and we most of the times we don't even know who the artist behind is, and it's definitely important to yeah, give these people some spotlight.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that a lot of people forget. There's a saying, at least here on this side of the world, that an artist gets famous when they die. It's like the only artwork that people care about is like from some dead artist. And when you think about it, there's some truth to that. But when you look at it from a marketing perspective, the truth in that statement really doesn't have to do with their death, but has to do with the story. So the story becomes, okay, this person's work is over. There's no more work that person can do, and there's no more value that they can create. There's nothing else that they can bring into the world. And so when you think about artists living or dead, the pieces that really speak the most to people are the ones that have some connection to a story, some connection to symbolism or concepts that mean something, or that are touching on a nerve in the zeitgeist, if you will, at that particular time. And the beautiful thing is, I think right now in the NFT world, we've brought so many people into the art space who technically never had a voice or a distribution platform before. But now we have so many people and we have so many stories that we've never even heard from any of them. It's like the anonymous thing is carried over from the quote unquote typical NFT project into the art world, and I get that on some level. Maintaining that anonymity can be advantageous if you're not selling a product or service but a piece of art. But by the same token, if you don't know the story, it's very difficult for you to assign meaning or to understand what the artists really like core like concept or core belief or core system behind the thinking and creating that piece, where it came from. So having Maria on, I think, is going to be a good idea, showcasing not just her but all these other artists out there who are putting things into the world and trying to create value. It's going to be cool because I think we can provide a fantastic platform, not only for them to get more pieces into the marketplace, but for people to actually learn about them, to have space on our web presence, to have space on our podcast, to have space in our collections, and then really build value into who these people are and why they do what they do.
Yeah, definitely agree, man, 100%. And I liked the way you described how artists actually kind of cut the supply when they die. There's not no more stuff coming. The art is limited from that time, and yeah, it's interesting if you actually see it like that. It's definitely like that art gets valuable once artists die. And I think there are, of course, like some artists today who are already successful. I don't know if you know about Banksy, for example.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's pretty famous, and I'm not sure if he's actually anonymous, but I think that he just goes through London and some cities and draws his art somewhere, and it gets famous. And obviously he's still alive, but like the biggest ones we have in humanity are unfortunately already dead. And yeah, I mean, you already said it. We need to praise artists when they're alive and give them the spotlight. And I mean, it's always interesting to see, because it kind of reminds me of my time in school when we had like art lessons, and we talked about paintings from artists who already died. We always had to analyze stuff and talk about stuff like, hey, what did the artist want to say with that picture, and with the type of color he types of colors he used and stuff. And we were never able to ask them. We always had to believe what's been written or told by teachers. So I love talking with artists about their art and see what they have to say about it, what they think about when they draw stuff. And I think we're definitely yeah, we're definitely lucky that we have so many good creative people out there, and we are able to talk to them about their art.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The Banksy story is really cool, right? Like, if you think about, I think one of the reasons that makes him sort of one of the standouts in the modern world is his artwork is temporary. You know, if you think about it, right? He's running around town. He's putting spray paint on walls and in various cities and in different places, and that's never going to last. It's temporary. It's ephemeral. It's going to be fading away. And the story of that is kind of beautiful. You know, it's almost like the sand drawings. Is it the Buddhist monks that make the sand drawings and then they just knock them down, wash them away? You know, you can tell that the art is being done for the sake of the art itself, not necessarily to create popularity or not necessarily to create some sort of commercial endeavor. And so when you know that the piece is going to disappear because of weather, or because in the case of the monks they're destroying it themselves, whatever the thing is, like, the only reason to do it is because you enjoy doing it, you know, and that's really beautiful. There's a certain, I guess, melancholy about that, or a certain degree of sadness meets happiness about that, in that, hey, I'm doing this because I love it. I'm not necessarily doing it for you or for anyone else or to sell copies or prints of it. I'm just doing it because I love it, and it's going to disappear, you know. It's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think like there's that one painting that he made is that balloon girl. I think it's pretty famous,
Hmm.
and he just painted it on some kind of wall. And yeah, still there are so many paintings like duplicates. Like people want these paintings on their wall at home. So we definitely get to see these paintings around a lot. Um, but I don't know if you've read about it or saw something about it, but a couple of weeks ago he actually went, I think it was London, I'm not sure, but he made some art on a stop sign in London, I think. And yeah, some guy, like, he posted it on Instagram, and some guy just ran there and stole that sign and got like got arrested, like, I think 1 or 2 hours later. And yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it would have been very valuable, but I think Banksy wrote to what was it, like, two planes or something, like aircrafts, I don't know, like criticizing the war and stuff. Yeah, and that guy ran there, stole it, ran away, and got arrested. And yeah, it's insane. But I'm so happy that someone like that lives and is showing his art and showing it to everyone. You know, he makes it public and stuff, and not like hiding it just for art galleries. And yeah, a very cool guy. I would love that he is he's never probably going to expose himself and say like, hey, it's me. But I think that is actually, yeah, a good thing in the end, because the that he is anonymous is definitely giving it some kind of spice. You know, when you hear about another Banksy, you just want to see it, and people go there. Unfortunately, like, London is not around, but I would definitely do it as well.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but, but Maria is in Spain, so let's make vacation in Spain.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I've never been to Spain, so, you know, I'll rely on you and her to be my tour guides, but I would definitely love to do that.
Yeah, 100%. And when the collection is sold out, we'll go there.
Okay. Yeah, go
Yeah,
celebrate.
but like I said, we are happy to have her on the podcast. We hope that she agrees. Like I said, she doesn't know yet. Um, but yeah, if so, we'll have her next week or maybe the week after, and we're looking forward to talk to her. And yeah, that's it for the big artist incubator that's coming. And besides that, there is a lot of other art coming. Yeah, do you want to share that already, or?
I don't want to share anything just yet. I've got a fairly big name artist on the line, and we are doing our best to work out a deal, but we don't have anything final yet. So rather than jump the gun, I'd rather make sure that we have something final before I announce who it is. But you know, I think ultimately, when the name is released, people are going to be pretty excited for this particular person. He's done, you know, big brand partnerships, all kinds of things across the world. And so I think, inside Solana, he's even done quite a bit, and different chains, I'm sure, as well. But he's fairly well known in the art world and fairly well respected. So looking forward to bringing him on. But I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this thing. And when you were talking about Maria doing what Maria does, and then you mentioned, you asked me about Banksy, and we're talking about. I think I mentioned the stories. Like the story is what sells the piece. Not necessarily the piece itself. Sometimes the piece tells the story, but oftentimes it doesn't. And so I think when I'm looking at the Banksy stuff, it's been really interesting to watch how that's evolved, because I think even at one point, I don't remember exactly which piece it was, but he did a series of art in New York at one point, and it was I forget what side of town it was on, but it wasn't a very it wasn't a very nice part of town. He had done a painting on a wall, and people were going to see it, right? And the people in that neighborhood were guarding it. It was kind of funny. So, like, in order to see the Banksy artwork sprayed on the wall, these guys got together and they were making sure that you couldn't see it unless you paid them. So Banksy was actually making money for other people because of the notoriety of his art that he left for free on a wall somewhere. Now some guys are like, mafiosos taking over the street corner, guarding this artwork that people are not allowed to see unless they give them like a $10 or $20 or whatever it was, right? It's kind of funny to see stuff like that happen.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's how people in probably like the Bronx maybe made money back then. But yeah, that's definitely cool. I mean, I always wondered why nobody ever took a picture of him while he did that, because there's so many cameras all around, and everyone got a phone, a smartphone, and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that never like that stop sign, for example. If someone does some painting on a stop sign, I feel like there's like 100% a chance that someone takes a picture, but somehow didn't happen yet.
I'm sure somebody knows. I'm sure someone's holding the secret somewhere. But it
Yeah,
just adds to the mystique, right? It adds to the story, which was kind of the whole point of that whole artwork conversation. And it's really cool to see. I think so many people embrace their creative side. I mean, for the longest time, I think there were creative people who just didn't feel like they had an outlet. And one thing we can say that the NFT market in general has done is it's given people an outlet. So if you've got an internet connection and a creative streak, you can jump online and start building up a little bit of a following and start selling a few pieces here and there. So I think the beautiful thing about the artist incubator is that creative streak that we're seeing in the market as a whole is something that we can go into, and then with the help of the artist amplify them, right? Like, it's not about us, it's not about what we get or what we can do, other than the fact that we can help someone else be shown in a bigger light or give them a greater audience or greater reach. And every time we, can reach out to someone and make that connection, I think that's super valuable. So for me, like, now that the market is starting to mature a bit, I'm looking forward to making deeper connections with not only the artists, but also the consumers, the people that we serve, the people in our community. And what brings us all together? Well, ultimately, it's the fact that we collect beautiful things. And that the common thread running through that is that we all collect beautiful things. So if I have a beautiful thing and I love it and I have the story behind it and I know what's going on with the artist and I know that GoodFellas is going to make sure it's got a market forever, hey man, then so much the better. And I think it's just win, win, win all the way around.
Yeah, man. And that's actually quite interesting, because when I get into conversations with artists, and try to explain that to them and be like, "Hey, man, it's actually, you got nothing to lose. It's a win-win situation for everyone." People tend to like not believe what I say, and that's interesting because like the space is so fucked up, and people always think, or immediately think like, "Hey, he's going to scam me. He's going to get the art and run away with it. Like, what would I do with it anyway?" So yeah, we try to heal the space somehow, and hope for, like, as this gets bigger, we hope for more and more artists to join the movement. um Yeah, because what I just wanted to add to the whole Banksy stuff is what came to my mind is actually quite funny because I read some conspiracy theories about it, and then like have you seen that some people even say stuff like that Satoshi Nakamoto is like American government and stuff. So that's actually a coin created by them to stay in control of everything, and that's actually pretty funny because whenever something is anonymous, people go crazy about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I have heard some of those conspiracy theories. I mean, it's funny. I mean, no one can. I mean, it is funny. I mean, the truth is, no one knows the truth. Especially when it comes to like Bitcoin and Satoshi. Obviously, different topic, but the interesting thing is, like, if you think about it logically, the U.S. government and the Chinese government have been at odds for ages. They've been trading partners, but they've never really trusted one another or enjoyed, the lifestyle created by the other situation, right? And so the funny thing about that whole conspiracy thing is that if the U.S. government created Bitcoin, the Chinese were the largest Bitcoin miners in the world for the first 10 years of Bitcoin. So it's kind of funny that if the U.S. government did create it, that they had empowered the Chinese economy for 10 years, like inadvertently. You would think that at some point someone would put two and two together and be like, well, it's kind of helping the Chinese economy. The U.S. and the Chinese aren't really the greatest of friends. Did the U.S. government really create that to help the Chinese, or are all these guys all working together? And of course, the rabbit hole gets pretty deep at that point. But to me, that seems highly unlikely.
Yeah, I don't think so as well, but yeah, just needed to think about that when we talked about Banksy and all the stuff. Yeah, but we have just talked about the quality work that we want to provide, and we are very transparent, so we have to show the other side as well, and that leads me to take a look at Magic Eden and the trending collections here. And I don't know if you have seen, but the good old pump and dump shit is not over yet. So people haven't learned, obviously. And what I found is a collection that is called Jupiter Cats. Like I said, I don't know if you've taken a look. I think we've talked about it a bit, but yeah, that's like a big collection of cats, 1,111, and they actually claim to be a freeman, no royalties, just vibes, and paying homage to Jupuary and its significance. And yeah, what do you think about such a collection?
I think it's typical Solana. I mean, I I love Solana. I have a love-hate relationship with Solana. I love the fact that Solana has its hands in so many pies, right? Like you've got the technical side, the art side, the mobile phone, um, blockchain chat. You've got creators, you've got utilities, you've got artists. I mean, the rabbit hole that Solana falls down and the topics that it touches are vast. And so pigeonholing Solana is very difficult, which is kind of what we talked about on the last podcast with Joe and Maria on the spaces. But when it comes to these meme coins, meme drops, meme anythings, it's cool that it's trying to commemorate something. I mean, I have no issue with that whatsoever. But I think it's funny that people place so much stock in something that's obviously not going to be of value in the future. And I think you mentioned this before. Before we started recording, we were talking about ABC. The hand drawn crayon looking drawings from kids, and the whole idea was we're just going back to childhood and we want to have fun and this and that and the other thing. And that collection trended up toward close to, if not touched, 100 Solana at one point, and today it's like at two. And so when you see things like this trending and you look at the hype and the energy that goes into, but the hype, the energy, and also the resources. And when I say resources, I mean like capital. And I think a lot of people on Solana don't realize what capital actually represents. When I say capital, I mean your wealth, your funds, your money. Like everything that you own, everything that you hold in an account somewhere is the result of a risk that you took or of physical energy that you expended to create, or physical energy that someone else expended to create. And when you throw it at something that you know for a fact is going to go down, in other words, you're knowingly diminishing the amount of life force you have saved up, then I think that's a bad thing. And I feel like on some level, if your enjoyment of that, like if I look at that collection and I say, okay, well, it's a cute little cat, and I had fun in January. I got my jupe drop, and I'm spending my jupe drop on the jupe cats, to just have a little fun. I mean, great, no problem. But what I think most people are doing in that is they're jumping on that to try to flip it for a profit really quickly. And ultimately, all of the collections that operate that way will not survive because there's nothing underpinning them. And so what we've seen in Solana is we still see a lot of hype go from project to project to project to project, because when you have, I don't know, I've probably explained this 1,000 times, but when you've got so much supply and limited demand, all you do is you cannibalize previous drops. That's all that happens. And that's why you have maybe 2%, maybe 3% that's actually long-standing and of value, because basically the market for consumers hasn't grown that much, whereas the market for the creation of NFTs has exploded. And the beautiful thing about Solana is it has a low barrier to entry. So, if you've got a little bit of want to and a little bit of money, you can throw together an NFT collection and you can drop it. Okay, but the ugly thing about Solana is it has a low barrier of entry, meaning that anyone can put together an NFT collection and drop it under the guise of something. So it's a two-edged sword. You've got the benefit of the low barrier to entry, but you also have the detriment of the low barrier to entry, which brings in all kinds of nefarious characters. Now, I'm not saying that, Jupe Cats is that. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, when I'm looking to put my life force at risk, which is what I'm doing when I spend money, because money is a store of life force. When I do that and I put it at risk, I want to make sure that I have a good, solid chance at getting it back out plus. And I don't see that happening with meme coins, meme collections, or things along this line, especially when the communities that surround them aren't focused on holding or building. They're focused on flipping it, for a few bucks and, getting a hamburger at McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the Jupe Cats are, at least they are claiming to provide some kind of art. I mean, it's different cats, but another collection I found was actually called, and they even trended a little higher, was called These Nuts, and that is actually a collection that consists of 350K almost. And it's actually like always just a picture of peanuts written or drawn in paint or something. And this collection actually had a volume, 24-hour volume of 6,000 Solana, around that, and an all-time volume of 60,000, which is actually pretty big for the space. And I actually wondered, like, what the fuck do they do? Why do they have these peanuts and stuff? And then I found their page, and it's actually their utility is somehow like they eliminate storage costs for tokens on Solana, and they kind of enable ownership of Solana tokens without these fees. And what they actually did is they kind of created some kind of exchange on their website where you can exchange these nuts, these NFTs for Solana. And what I thought is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dex tools or Dex Screener, um, but these are the pages where you can actually see new tokens being listed before they get to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or somewhere like that. And the collection reminded me of these meme coins that are being like published there, because when I checked that page like a couple days ago, I kind of monitored the pairs that came out, like meme coins on Solana, and I always wondered like who the fuck buys these? Because if you check these meme coins, you actually see that all of them, like 95% of them, are rug pulls, like they're online for I don't know, a couple minutes, then they get some liquidity, and then these guys rock because the liquidity pool is almost never locked. So, and this is actually, that applies to what you just said, because you said that it's always like the same guys who jump from one project to the next project to the next project, and that is probably like the same with the meme coin shit, that people always hope for the big win, for like getting a meme coin at a market cap of, I don't know, 100,000, and or even like $1,000, and being able to sell like with 500 to 1000x. um, and that's insane, and that's pure gambling, and that's what people do not get. And I believe that people claim to be investors, but that's bullshit, and that is the same for all these shitty NFTs that recently dropped, and the collections. And do you think this will end sometime, or do you think these collections will always exist and just keep going to zero, and new ones will come?
I think ultimately it goes away, or at least it drops to, you know, a tiny fraction of the market. Because what's going to happen is ultimately, I liken it to fishing. I don't know if if you do any fishing or what have you, but when I was a kid, actually back when I was in college, my college roommate and I, we went bass fishing like every day. And it turns out that he actually invented a lure and patented it and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, we would go fishing every day, and we'd find a great spot, and we'd cast lures, and we would just kill it, man. We would just be raking fish in, right? But then after a while of the fish seeing that same lure, it stops working, because basically we're catch and release. We're not keeping the fish, we're releasing them back. They learn what that lure looks like, and they stop biting it, right? And I think humans work very much the same way. And right now we're conditioning humans to, in the marketplace for NFTs, to be distrustful, but also to be greedy. And I think as long as someone can risk a certain amount of funds that is not going to basically impact their life in a negative way if they lose it, like if someone loses, whatever, I know everybody's at a different place, but let's say someone loses $1,000, right? And for them, that's not a big deal. I lost $1,000. It's not going to impact my lifestyle. Okay, no big deal, right? And so for me, it's worth taking a risk on this meme coin that could go to, 5,000x, whatever. If I lose my money, I lose my money. Okay, cool. I have no problem with that person risking their own money, because they're understanding the fact that, okay, if I lose this money, it's not going to impact my lifestyle. But I think what's happening is people who don't have money are gambling, and then we end up with long, sad stories on Twitter about how crypto ruined my life. I don't know if you've seen this, right? Crypto ruined my life.
Yeah.
No, idiot. Crypto didn't ruin your life. Your greed ruined your life. Your stupidity ruined your life. And, I actually saw a post on Twitter of some guy who had sat down in his bathtub and taken a photo of his wrists with blood on them. Now, obviously, I don't know if this is staged or not, right? It could just be someone putting ketchup on their wrist and holding a razor blade and saying, crypto ruined my life. And, I asked for help and no one was here to help me, blah, blah, blah. And, obviously, it could have been faked, could have been real. But the point that that type of thing exists is going to be the end of this, sort of pump and dump, give me something for nothing world. Because whether we want to admit it or not, regulation is coming to the market, and all a regulator needs to get a law passed is some visual like that. They'll take this to the public and they'll say, okay, well, we're going to start regulating NFTs and artwork markets in the NFT world because we need to save you from yourselves. And so ultimately the market will cannibalize itself either through regulation or through the fish getting smarter. I'm hoping the fish get smarter and they stop doing stupid things before the regulators come in and say, well, we need to save you from yourself. Because when that happens, when the regulators save us from ourselves, all the best opportunities are gone. And the market starts to smooth out, and you don't have big gains or big losses, but you also don't have big opportunity. So I try to, when I'm talking to someone about investing, I try to make everything very real world. In the real world, investing is putting money into a thing and then expecting or having a very high likelihood of getting either cash flow or some dividend back in the future. In other words, you can pull your money back out. Speculating is what most people do in the NFT market, which is where you buy something and you hope to find a bigger sucker to sell it to for more later. That's a huge, huge difference, right? So if I'm buying, this NFT project, I'm just looking at the one that you mentioned, D's Nuts, which is kind of funny, right? So if I buy this, the only way that I really make out is to sell it to a bigger sucker. And I'm hoping to find a bigger sucker to buy this, you know, picture of two peanuts from. And the likelihood of that as the hype subsides is almost nil. So I see this ending and I see this starting, to end with the maturity of the market, but we have a long way to go. One of the interesting things that points to the maturity of the market is, even the founder of Solana has said numerous times on his Twitter feed that he wants Solana to represent higher quality. He's made a few posts to this effect. We saw Alex, I forget his last name, but the guy who went by NFT God, he retired his NFT God moniker and now is running by his real name and is actually doing a show where he evaluates NFT projects. And what's happening is people are realizing, at least people who understand money are realizing that what an NFT project is it's actually you're buying a share in a company. That's what it is. It's a pretty piece of stock in a company, especially if they're advertising utility or they're advertising gains or if they're advertising some sort of cash flow. You're buying into a company. And so the artwork is nearly irrelevant at that point. It's just a pretty piece of stock. And if you're pitching an idea to an investor, the investor wants to know not how pretty the artwork is, but how in the world are you going to give me some reasonable return on the money that I'm giving you in a reasonable time frame. And as more and more people drop the anonymity, as more and more people focus on building real businesses, as more and more people separate the idea of artwork from the business of building a utility, this stuff will continue to subside. But the flip side of that, and what could make it continue to last, is that when new people come into the marketplace, they get sucked into the existing paradigm. And the truth is, the market for buyers in the NFT world hasn't really grown yet. This is still really underground, really under the surface. And when the masses come in, there's going to be a learning curve for them as well. So that might, make this last a bit longer. It might mean a few more people get screwed, but it's also going to mean the market is more jaded. There's going to be more information about who to trust, how to trust them, what to look for. Anonymity will be a thing of the past if you're building an actual project. And ultimately, maturity will win. When that happens, I have no idea, but ultimately, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so because you know um, we definitely hope for the fishes to be smarter in the future. But the problem is that the whole space kind of encourages you to make dumb decisions. If you look at all around like Twitter or like X. Um, Regarding the NFTs and the crypto space, you always see these guys posting their pictures like, "Hey, look, I made so much on that, and I did made so much money on that," and then people get that FOMO, and yeah, they buy into that shit. And I think as long as these people get a voice, like the so-called influencers today, um, as long as they are like successful and people follow their calls, it's going to be difficult. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty I hope that one day the majority of people who are already inside the space now will get smarter, and once new people enter the market, that the guys that we have today who are spreading the word in the crypto space, that they will disappear.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you hit on something that I was going to touch on. What was it? My brain stopped working. Oh Jesus, what was it? You were talking about the fish getting smarter. Man, what was it?
Hate when that happens as well.
I totally fell off the train, man. Um, so we were talking about. Let me just backtrack. We were talking about the market maturing. And you were talking about the fact that you hope the fish get smarter. Jesus, what was it? Super key. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, it'll come to me in a minute. It'll
Yeah,
hit.
you can like cut it in afterwards.
It'll hit me as soon as we go. As soon as we go to the next topic, it'll it'll hit me. Oh shoot, what was it?
I was talking about like influencers who got the voice and stuff. Like,
Yeah. What else? Yeah. I don't know, man.
must be terrible for you now, man. I
I
know that
know.
feeling so good.
I know my brain isn't working for some reason. But yeah, I mean the whole idea of maturity in the marketplace is really what we're talking about. The question is when it happens, how do we get there? You know, I mean I don't think anyone can tell you when anything. Oh, I know what it was. See, I told you. As soon as we changed the topic, it'd come to me. So you mentioned when you were talking about people who come into the marketplace and they say, "Oh, so and so posted this huge win," you know, and then this guy over here is
Yeah.
posting this huge win. And I think people forget this is more related to social media psychology than it is to NFTs, but people forget that everything on social media is curated. You know, no one is posting their losses. You know, no one is saying, "Oh, you know, I lost 9 times this week." Excuse me. I lost 9 times this week, but here's my one win. And you know, it's ridiculous. It's like, no, here's my win. Just ignore everything else. You know, here's my
Mm.
my new car, here's my new job, here's my new girlfriend, here's my, new NFT sale that I made $500 on. Like everybody's posting when they win, but no one's posting the fact that it took them 10 tries or 15 tries or 100 tries to get the win, right? And if you think about this, I mean, even Elon Musk has talked about this on, I think he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was talking about how people on the outside think they want to be him. I know people out there, they think they want to be me, but you don't know what's going on inside my head. And, social media makes it look like everybody outside of you is happier than you and smarter than you and prettier than you. But the reality is that none of those things are true. Probably not that happy, and we, if we don't keep the perspective that everything on social media is curated and that people are only showing you what they want you to see, then yeah, you end up with people making stupid decisions like that. So if someone posts a huge win, the first thing that I want to know is, all right, let's see. Oh, we lost them. There we go. You back? We're exchanging encryption keys here on Telegram. Let's see if it works. Are you back?
Yeah, I
All
mean, I'm
right.
here actually. I didn't look like I was disconnected. I think Telegram rocked us somehow.
Yeah, no worries.
Um, yeah.
But anyway, so
Oh,
no, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. Can we cut it like just cut it together?
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. Well, we're not
Okay,
really.
perfect. Because you was talking about like nobody's showing like his losses and just the
Yeah,
wins. Maybe you can like,
yeah,
get in
exactly,
there again.
exactly. Like I mean, the first thing you should look at is not someone's most recent win, but look at their track record, right? Like look at their track record. That's the thing that people forget to do.
Yeah.
So if you've got
and
a
and we have to be honest that especially the stuff that is being shown on Twitter, like the phantom wallets and all that stuff related to crypto, like that can be faked so easy.
it's
Like
so
you don't even
funny.
have to have that win; you can just fake it.
Yeah, I think that one of the dumbest ways I've seen people, like growing their interaction and their their Twitter following is posting a photo of a phantom wallet with a bunch of money in it, and then putting their name at the
Yeah.
top in the same font that the phantom application uses, and then people, people are just like, drop your wallet below, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna send
Yeah,
you,
that's it. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you $1,000 or whatever. It is like, really, you're still falling for that dumb shit. No one is sending you $1,000 for free, my friend. It's not happening. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah,
I still see so many wallets in the comments.
I know. But yeah, like it just comes down to track record. So like look at people's track records, and if you're looking at a project, who is responsible for the project, what have they done previously. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that they're going to, if they failed in the past, that doesn't mean that they're going to fail in the future. It's just an indicator. If they've been successful in the past, that doesn't mean they're going to be successful in the future. It's just an indicator. The question is, how did they handle adversity? What did they do? Did they treat people right? Did they return funds? Did they tell lies? What is it that they did to make sure that at the end of the day, if they failed, they did their best to make it right. If they succeeded, they did their best to tell the truth around the success and honor their track record. And I see just random people who are quote unquote, like trading, gods with anonymity. You don't know their name, you don't know their track record, you don't know their history, you don't know what they've done, but they're giving you a recommendation. That should all be avoided. That should be avoided completely because, again, unless and until you've seen the entire transaction log from their portfolio, them showing you that one win is meaningless.
Yeah, man, and in the end, it all comes back to what we have said in the very beginning when we started the project, that we want to be transparent about everything we do, and like integrity for the community and stuff. And this is going to be the most important thing forever. And I hope that influencers will get that in the future as well. I mean, that Alex guy did, obviously, he doxed himself. Um, and yeah, I haven't seen anyone doing the same yet, but I think just being anonymous and posting phantom screenshots and trying to get attention by claiming to drop Solana or any shitcoin is not going to work forever. And yeah, man, I think that's like definitely a good learning for everyone listening, and some good final words, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from the trend of anonymity to responsibility, I think you can look at some of the biggest names in the NFT space, and you can see that where you have the reputation of a successful person, then you generally have more interest. A, if that person has a following, but B, you have more certainty in the space. I think Discord largely exists so that people can check to see if they got rugged today. It's like, I'm in all these different servers. Let me check to see if I got rugged today. Because if you go into Discord, the level of conversation in most projects is, like eighth grade level, third grade level. It's hey, what's up? Are you drunk? Are you smoking weed? It's just like, it's ridiculous, right? But if you go into a server where you have an actual conversation around what's happening, where the market's going, you genuinely have an interest in those relationships and seeing them blossom and bloom over time. That's really what I think that should be used for. It's a great distribution tool for information on some level, but again, when you look at the level of discourse in there, is it free shit based, surface level stuff, anonymity left and right, distrust, I'm showing up to check, or is it not? That's really going to be the indicator of, where that project goes. So I look at
Yeah.
like D Gods and Frank, or you can look at Moonbirds, or any of these larger projects, Steve Aoki's project, where people are known, obviously in the space they do really well, but also where people are building a reputation, they're going to do very well, because in a space of liars, if you can actually weather the storm and stand out long enough to build a good reputation, that's going to be of benefit in the long run and help you build a following.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I sometimes I can't even judge people for talking so much shit in the Discord, because I heard there are projects who made it mandatory to be active, unless you want to get your free mint. But
That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
is it actually free if you have to spend so much time in there? I mean, time is valuable as well. So how free is it actually in the end? Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
100%. I mean, that's the silly thing, right? I mean, not to get off on
yeah,
another tangent. I know we both got to get going here, but I just want to touch on this before we get off. Like, if you are spending your time, you know, and you're being rewarded either with a role in Discord, a free mint, some sort of little benefit, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's fine. But by the same token, you have to realize that you're now employed by someone. You're trading your precious life force in the service of someone or something else, right? And as long as you're in agreement that that's a good thing and a good use of your time, so much the better. But if I have a free mint project and a free mint project is telling me I have to be active in Discord, I have to tweet this, I've got to follow that, I've got to retweet this and comment and all this other stuff. Well, you know what? I'd just rather wait for it. If I like the artwork or the project, I'd just rather wait for it to mint and then I'll buy it for a couple pennies. It's way cheaper, to do that than it is to waste all my time doing that when I could be spending my time on creative pursuits in my own life.
Not even that. I mean, when people do not get that they are actually working for the project once they start to retweeting everything and being active and all that stuff. And I mean, for what in the end? Like, go work for minimum wage, and you'll probably get more money during that time.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
what what can we do
We
other than
can,
teaching people?
yeah, we can tell the truth and be honest, and and grow from there with the people who actually give a shit about the space, the marketplace, and the project that we're building, and then care about the longevity of a thing. And those are the people that we want to invest in and spend time around. And as long as we do that, where the chips fall from there, it's not up to us. We can't control outcomes. We can only control our inputs. But I've never seen a market in history where people do the right thing for an extended period of time and don't figure out how to create success, not only for themselves, but for every single person that they've touched and every single person that they come in contact with.
Perfect, man. So to conclude this wonderful episode, Maria coming soon. Don't buy these nuts. Don't buy Jupe cats, and avoid Freemans.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in a D's nutshell, huh? Ah, dad joke, really bad dad joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I apologize in advance. That was terrible. All
yeah,
right,
liked
man.
it. Liked it. All good.
Sorry, man. Any parting
Yeah.
words? Any parting shots you want to make before we get off here?
No, I'm actually good. I think that was a pretty good episode. A lot of good information, and looking forward for what's coming.
Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, stepping out of your German castle over there to spend time with us lowly Americans here. And we'll have fun, guys. Have a great day. Have a great week. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure and rate us, send us some feedback. Let us know how we can improve and get you better information over time. We're always looking for honest feedback, and we will see you in the next episode.